So I want to invite you to sit back and relax for this next 1 hour. And I really trust that you will find the sessions beneficial for your business, especially in positioning yourself to help those who come to you for assistance, and also in learning how to better improve our own families and our own health. So the first thing I wanted to say for this session, actually before I start, is that next Thursday is Holy Thursday, and we shall be starting our Easter weekend worship. So we shall not have training next Thursday. Just be aware of that. Sometimes I make these announcements and then I still get messages. People are asking, is there no meeting today? Where is my Zoom invite? So just be aware that we shall be having no training on Thursday. We will resume the Thursday after Easter. So then going on here to say that, of course, as parents, this will be, I know there are some of us in this Zoom who are parents, many of us, of course, all of us know people who are parents. So we are aware that as parents, we hope to help our children to grow into appropriately fulfilled, self-governing adults who will be able to make a positive contribution to our society. So I think every parent has that wish in their hearts. And part of doing this, of course, we do things like ensure as far as we are able to send them to good schools to get a good education. But sometimes I think we might underplay the importance of our home culture, the culture in which we raise our children when they are at home. This plays a very important role in education. A lot of times we don't think about it as education, but it is very important, the example that we give to demonstrate for our children ways to behave and ways to deal with difficulties and so on. This is very well learned at home because not only do we use words, but we also use examples, and often our children will be able to observe us as we go about dealing with the issues of life. One of those issues will be the issue of making good dietary choices and good lifestyle choices so that they can see that it is actually important, not only for their current health, but also for their future health, because eventually we are going to hand over their lives to them, and they should have been prepared by then to be able to make the right choices and see how to best govern their own selves. So this is the matter of food and lifestyle choices is ever more getting important because we have seen that metabolic illnesses, lifestyle related illnesses are ever increasing, which means that these choices are going to play a very important role in our health span as well as our lifespan. So for that reason, I wanted to go through this training in stages, starting with the stage before pregnancy. So good nutrition is an important part of our general health. And for people who are planning to start a family or to grow their family, it is important to think about their general health as they embark on this journey, not only because of the fact that they are now leaders of a family, but also because once the children come, you are going to need quite a bit to be healthy and strong and able to deal with the challenges and opportunities that growing a family bring about. So for that reason, both the mother and the father who are hoping to conceive should already be looking at their lifestyle choices and their dietary choices and seeing how to improve. So for example, you opt for a healthy, minimally processed foods in 80% of your diet. That is the majority of your diet should be food that you know the contents of and you know what it is made out of. You already at this stage incorporate activity and exercise in daily routine so that it becomes a well-established family habit, shall I say. Things like eliminating harmful habits, things like substance abuse. Maybe you're a man, you've been in the habit of smoking, then maybe the fact that you want to start a family should be an added incentive for you to stop. It's not that only men smoke, of course, but just to say that some of these habits are actually harmful to our own health and can also carry some adverse effects to the next generation. Minimizing our toxin load, so looking at our surroundings, the home we are making, to see how to make sure that it's not a source of toxin from our grooming products we use for grooming, products we use for cleaning, and so on. And then at this stage, I recommend that we take our baseline supplementation. If you have got a strong budget, then ProVitality would be a good choice as a baseline supplementation. As a couple, maybe you may decide how to go about it, whether to buy two of them or to buy one and share. If ProVitality is, maybe you are a young family who just started with a tight budget, you can opt for Formula 4, which is also very good. And if things are really tight, then I would say you can opt for 3NN at least, because remember the benefit of 3NN is that it's not only our baseline supplement, but the reason why it is our baseline supplement is that it helps our body to benefit from all the good things that we are trying to do, whether in terms of our diet or our lifestyle, or to help us against illnesses. So as you prepare for pregnancy and starting a family, do look at having at least a baseline supplement in your life. Then the next stage will be when the mom has conceived and now the baby is being expected. So here again, we need to know that lifestyle and nutrition should cater for the needs of both the growing baby, but also those of the mother, which means now the system is going to be quite the demands of the system will increase. And that means that in your lifestyle, you should look at resolving and minimizing stress on the mom, especially. Also, as I said previously, make sure that 80% of the food that is in your diet is minimally processed, healthy, and wholesome. Then also resolve any lifestyle related health issues. So for example, if you already had been having issues like prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, maybe you have high blood pressure or you have a familial tendency to it, maybe you have your family background has some autoimmune issues, this would be important to resolve well in advance. And of course, this, as I said, maybe you should already have been thinking about it before, but if not, this is a stage at which you look at your lifestyle and see how you can resolve these types of baby does not pick up some of these things, because we know that if a mother is obese or diabetic, it increases the risk of that be happening to the baby as well. Then eliminate or avoid any environmental problem. Example, plastic residues. Remember, I think I've mentioned previously that avoid heating food in plastic containers, especially oily food that has been fried or cooked with fat, because if you heat it in the microwave, then the fats are going to make the plastic leach into your food. So that's an example of an environmental toxin that can come in through your food container. Like let's say exposure to things like nicotine from tobacco or alcohol and any other types of these things. Then for the expectant mom, we recommend that you supplement with the following. The first will be ProVitality. Here it is even more crucial than previously, because now we actually have to think about the development of the baby's brain, the baby's eyes, and other tissues. Omega-3 is very important for that. Things like carotenoid help with the development of vision and also help to prevent premature contraction of the uterus. 3NN, as we know, helps in overall cellular development and healthy cells. And we also have multimineral, very important, with things like iron and calcium, which are essential for building the baby's skeleton, but also for maintaining the mom's skeleton. One of the things that I have over the years noticed is that More moms who don't supplement when they are pregnant tend to develop tooth problems after the baby is born or after they start breastfeeding. And that is because the breast milk and the developing baby both will be taking calcium from the mom's bones if she does not get enough calcium from her diet. So it is quite important for expectant moms to have a good mineral supplement, of which multimineral plus is one of those good ones. And another vitamin that you need to add would be vitamin B complex, which is very important again for brain and spinal cord development, and is important for avoiding certain types of birth defects. So for the expectant mom, we recommend ProVitality, we recommend multimineral and vitamin B complex. Remember that ProVitality will have omega-3 as well as carotenoid complex, 3 and N, and we'll have also multi. But multi will not have the amount of supplementation that the mom requires, especially for minerals. So even if you're taking ProVitality, you need to also add multimineral plus. Then another thing that can be useful for an expectant mom is aloe vera plus for settling the stomach and also helping. In some cases, it can help with nausea. I know for myself, when I was in this situation, I used to find aloe vera quite helpful for dealing with the nausea that comes in the earlier stages of pregnancy. Okay, so then we go on to the third stage, and that is the breastfeeding stage. This is after the baby has been born. We highly recommend breastfeeding because breast milk is not only the perfect food for the babies, it also carries many physiological and emotional information from the mother to the child, and also from the child to the mother. So it's an important part of bonding between mother and child. And that means, as much as possible, we should try to establish breastfeeding. I know that for some people it can be a struggle, but try to get as much support as you can to establish breastfeeding because your baby will benefit a great deal. We recommend that the breastfeeding mom should drink plenty of water, but also if bone broth is very good for expectant. Many of our cultures used to recommend this, so bone broth, and also other nutritious soups from legumes. So in some cultures, there are certain types of legumes that were specifically for breastfeeding moms. In my culture, it was green grams, also called the Indian name for green grams. Okay, dengu. I was thinking about there is another name that is used for green grams, but they are small green legumes. Then in another culture, it is the purple. There's a purplish type of bean with a dark bean with a white line on it. So some of these legumes, just to say, are also a very important part of providing good nutrition, and they will also provide not only nutrients, but also they will provide good fiber to support good gut health, which the baby will also benefit from because a lot of our gut microbes are given to us by our moms as we are getting born or in the process of handling us and also of feeding us. So those are some of the foods that we can add to the breastfeeding mom. We also breastfeeding helps the mom's body to regain a healthy weight because, of course, many women, and not all, but many women do pick up some weight in the course of childbirth, and not all of the weight is lost after giving birth to the baby. This can especially be worsened if we have got food cravings that make us eat a lot of unhealthy food. So look at your habits during pregnancy, but also remember that breastfeeding plays an important role in shrinking the uterus after childbirth and also helping you to maintain a good weight. So it's beneficial to both mother and child. Breast milk also forms an excellent foundation for the child's immune system, as I've said. So then here, what we'll recommend from the Neolife side will be multimineral plus, you continue with that. And then we also recommend Neolife Shake as a good supplement for proteins. Of course, you should try to get a good amount of proteins in your diet. So meat, different types of meat, nuts, and fish, things like that. But if you find that maybe you are not getting enough, then Neolife Shake can be a good supplement for that. And you'll also continue with Provitality because remember, the demands of breastfeeding means that you need plenty of nutrients in your diet. Then now we go to the stage where we are looking at the baby minus the mom. That is the needs of the child. So here we are talking about the infant from toddlers and early childhood, let us say from 2 years and above. By this time, maybe the baby will have been weaned. And in many of our cultures, we had different foods that could be used to help with the weaning process. I know that these days many of us opt for tinned, prepared, prepackaged baby food. I myself don't recommend them because a lot of time they have a lot of sugar and they start your baby on a journey of a sugar-filled life, which ends up to be quite problematic. So I would say as much as possible, maybe check with your elders what they used to use as the type of food to help to wean the baby. In some cases, it would be things like mashed bananas. It could be different fruits that are made into a puree or a paste. It could be broth also and soups and so on. So it is a good choice not to, at least not to depend entirely on prepackaged and prepared tinned baby food. Try to opt for homemade foods or at least a combination and try to avoid foods that are sweet. I know that the baby will find it very easy to drink or to eat, but remember that with the way things are going, sugar is just showing how problematic it is. And if we establish the habit of sweetness at an early stage, it will be very hard to remove that from the child. Also, it will limit the types of food that they find palatable. So these types of homemade food have different textures, different flavors. A lot of time the flavor is quite interesting. It might be salty and a bit of sour and so on. So this gives the child a broad spectrum of taste and food experiences, which makes it easier for them to accept different types of food. You may have noticed that young ones that have grown with a lot of processed types of baby food, as they grow up, they are very limited in the kind of food they find that they like, and it becomes quite a struggle to get them to eat certain types of food. They may find them repulsive or they may just not like them at all. So try to think about that as you wean the child and you start them on solid foods. Avoiding hyperpalatable foods that come in packets and tins and whatnot. Also remember that a lot of these foods may have colorants and flavorants and preservatives, all of which are an unknown quantity, and you don't know how your own specific child system will be affected by them. All right. So then with the supplements we recommend at this stage, remember our supplements have taken these things into account. And you will know, although they are tasty, they will not have that hyperpalatable flavor, but they are quite palatable. So you can offer Liquivite at this stage, which is a serum that gives the baby a baseline supplement. This more especially if there is difficulty in things like breastfeeding or establishing a good diet for the baby. You may want to think, maybe for one reason or another, the baby is ill or the mom is ill, and you find that there's a difficulty with nutrition. Then you may want to supplement with Liquivite or very dilute Neolife Shake to help to supplement the baby's diet. But all in all, usually with this stage, we may find that the food that we are providing, if we give it some thought, will be okay for the growing child. Then we go on to a later stage. Here is late childhood, that is around age 7 plus. Here we are looking at the lifestyle points. It's a good plan to teach children to eat mainly during meals so that we can progressively reduce the habit of snacking. So, of course, small children have got small stomachs and they may not be able to eat enough to last from one meal to the next, especially depending on the meal frequency in the house. So, younger children may require something to eat in between meals, but as they go into late childhood, this in between eating should be reduced progressively so that by the time they reach the next stage of preteens, we can look at them eating during meals. And this is a good habit so that we can see how to deal with the issues like childhood obesity. A lot of the foods that are provided for snacking are unhealthy. So if we are giving our children snacks, we should look at the quality of the snack. It could be things like fruits, it could be a salad, something like that. It could be a shake like Neolife shake. So help them to continue developing a taste for natural foods by avoiding junk food except on rare occasions. There might be times when it is not possible to avoid junk food. Maybe they've gone to a party or they've gone to a friend's house and so on. This is all right. We don't have to be obsessive about it. But what we can do is to minimize these things at home so that when they do take them, I know that this is easier said than done because I remember with my own children, they used to be so excited with junk food when they go to parties that they would eat a whole lot of it. But then, of course, when they come back to their home diet, we would progressively get away from that. So it's important to help children also to develop this natural taste for natural food because this will make their food choices as they are older, broader. They'll have a broader range of food that they find acceptable as they grow older and into adulthood as well. Then for the late childhood stage, the supplements we can recommend. Again, here we can say Neolife Shake is a good protein supplement if there is a need for it. It is important here to have omega-3 plus to continue with the blood and brain development at this stage. Remember, at this stage, the children are growing very fast. So although Neolife Shake may be optional, omega-3 plus is very important, especially when you come from communities where you don't eat much fish, then do supplement with that. Vita Squares are a good baseline supplement, and VitaGuard also is a good one, especially if you maybe are going into the season where there's a lot of flu. For example, here in Southern Africa, we are headed for the flu season. So from next month, we're already looking at ways to up our vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D intake, just to ensure that we don't have to deal too much with the viral infections that tend to come as the seasons become colder. So for our young ones, VitaGuard and Chewable C will play that role. Then now we go to the stage of preteens, that's from 11 years. And here we also continue explaining things like the importance of the different food groups, because it is important for them to know that different foods provide different types of nutrients in the diet. And so they can't just live, for example, in one type of food which they like some children just love meat and want to eat nothing but meat, but they do need to eat fruits and vegetables as well. And also help them to choose fiber-rich carbohydrates that are better for them. They need to know that putting on weight is very much associated with the type of food choices that they make and the amount of time they spend sedentary. Then this is the age where we need to explain things, not just to tell them you need to do this or you need to eat this, because with the stage at which they're starting to have their own opinions and make their own decisions. And so do explain why you do certain things so that they know the importance of it. Importance of things like supplements, as I said, importance of different food groups in the diet, the problems to do with prepackaged and junk food and so on. Then the supplements we recommend here will be Formula 4. We also recommend that we can continue with Neolife Shake if it is needed, especially let's say the child is a sports enthusiast and plays a lot of sports or is growing very fast, then you might want to supplement with Neolife Shake. Then also omega-3 plus continues into this age again, and multimineral plus also important, again, because their skeleton is growing very fast and minerals will be playing an important role. Then the last stage we have here is the teens. So here is when our children have reached adolescence. And of course, if we have been doing the job of parenting as we should, we would have been progressively handing over to them the choices that they make. And also accepting that there is such thing as budgets and they can't have always the type of food that they want, and we can't cook different food for everybody in the house and so on. So this can all be explained. And another thing is to help them to learn how to prepare food. For example, during the holidays, they can assist or they can take over food preparation. It is important in the times we are growing in for people generally to know how to cook. This is both boys and girls, because it's only the food that you prepare that you actually know what goes into it. And given what has happened to our food production, you might want to be able to prepare your own food at least. We might not be able to do anything about what is done to food when it is being grown, because we can't grow all the, but things like what is added to the food in the process of cooking, that in most cases we are able to determine. Explain to the teens the reason for supplementation and why it is important, and in what situations it might be important. So here we recommend Formula 4 again, and we also continue with multimineral plus and Neolife Shake. Here again, we may have some additional things. So for example, we may want to add omega-3 plus for this stage, because as I said, brain development and also things to do like sports, they may be having injuries and so on. So what I'm saying is simply the basics, but you can see what else you need to add to the Formula 4 and the multimineral. So as I said, the new life shake will be optional depending on the protein quantities that you're able to provide from the diet. So I think that brings us to the last stage of childhood. From there is adolescence, and our young ones may now become young adults who may go to college and so on. But by then we have had a good run of maybe 16, 17 years in which to guide them, educate them about the importance of making good dietary and lifestyle choices. Now, I have maybe 2 minutes left in which I will just speak a little bit about the fact that sometimes some illnesses may develop during pregnancy itself. So, for example, high blood pressure can be a problem in pregnancy. It can be induced by the pregnancy because of the changes in the body. Another thing that can increase risk of high blood pressure will be if you have in vitro fertilization. Is one of the serious risks, together with blood clots and so on. Pre-existing high blood pressure can get worse during pregnancy, so it's important to be checked or to have blood pressure monitor at home if you have got issues of this type. Not to panic and be continuously worried and measuring your blood pressure, but just to be aware that you do need to keep an eye on it, especially if you have got familial tendencies or a pre-existing blood pressure condition, or if you are overweight. Okay. Then we would say incorporate gentle exercise and movement in your lifestyle. This is very important. Also, eliminate sugar, starchy processed foods, and seed oils or factory fats from your diet. Take better choices. And then also resolve stress, because stress does contribute to worsening high blood pressure symptoms. And get good sun exposure or supplement with vitamin vegan D. So in the case of expectant moms, I think I didn't mention that. Opt for vegan D rather than vitamin A plus D. There are some question marks about vitamin A, D in expectant moms. Remember, with expectant moms, we always err on the side of caution. So rather go for vegan D. And then the other supplements that you can add high blood pressure will be lipotropic adjunct, especially if you're taking lipotropic adjunct, you can leave off the vitamin B complex from the supplements that I had mentioned. Remember, I had included vitamin B, but lipotropic adjunct has quite a bit of vitamin B. So you can see whether to take both or to take one, depending again on your situation. Then omega-3 plus, which you might, if you're taking Pro Vitality, you'll already have the omega-3 plus. And then another helpful thing for high blood pressure will be garlic allium complex and magnesium complex. Multimineral plus will have some magnesium, but if you have this issue, you will need extra. So I would say add magnesium to the list. So if you're already taking from the other list, you may just need to add garlic allium and magnesium complex to help that. So you'll see that my time has run out. But allow me once again to remind you that next Thursday we shall not have our regular Thursday evening training because we shall be in for Holy Thursday. But therefore, I want to wish you a very good Holy Week as we go towards it. Whether you are of our creed or a different one, it's always good to seek positivity and attend to the spiritual side of our life. Every human being has a body and a soul. So this is an opportunity for us to look at our spiritual needs. And so I wish you all the best. If you'll be traveling or spending time with your family, I wish you all the best with that. And with that, allow me to say good night and all the best. Remember, our business is portable. Even when we are on holiday and taking it easy, we can still find people who need our assistance or education and so on. So go for it, and many, many blessings upon you and those you love. Thank you, and here's Pascal now.
Thank you very much, Betty. As Betty was speaking here, I remember talking about meals. I was speaking to a friend of mine recently, and I told him that, if you eat 3 meals a day and you're 21, you've eaten over 22,000 meals. So I think you'd better know how to make a meal.